Good evening, friends and fellow Chicagoans. Welcome to another Tuesday night edition of Chicago Corner. We have a lot of interesting news that happened this week, but before we go into, well, got some toothpaste on my mouth. Before we begin the show and I introduce my co-host, I do want to extend my sincere condolences to a contributor and good friend of the show, Art Medina, who lost his mom, Juanita, this past weekend. She passed at 85 years old. I've met Art's mother on occasion, a lovely, lovely woman, and we mourn her passing and celebrate the long life that she had, Art. I just want to let you know, myself and the crew here at Chicago Corner, and I'm sure our other regular viewers in the live chat all extend our best wishes to you and your family. And I just wanted to share that because Art is a good friend. And while I don't understand that loss yet, thankfully, of a parent, but I did want to share a tribute there. So moving on, I would like to introduce our co-host for the evening, my good friend and colleague, aside from Oreo and his big butt here, Mr. Kit Cabello.
Cheers and salutations. Art, I send my deepest condolences to you and your family. I'm so sorry for the loss of your mother. Nothing I say can make anything feel better or change how you're feeling, but no matter what, you have to support the Chicago Corner crew and the audience as well. So we hope to see you back in the chat very soon, my friend. Take care of yourself and your family first. And once again, so sorry for the loss.
Absolutely. Let me also introduce our other co-host for the evening. I was able to coax him on camera instead of his avatar icon, Mr. Ed Heller.
Hey everybody. I don't always get on camera because I don't always know how strong my internet connection is going to hold up, and I'd rather you're able to hear me clearly than have the whole thing just, go completely, oh man, not again. I'm just kidding.
Well, we had a chance to do some tech testing behind the scenes before the show today, because I will announce this at the top of the show. This will probably be my last Tuesday night Chicago Corner broadcast for a while. And that's not a bad thing, because I'm going to be joining Kit Cabello on the Tuesday night Hardlands Media national broadcasts, after which I will be recording shows for Can TV. And in my absence on Tuesdays, we will be welcoming Kira McCowan, who Ed and I were basically helping understand the dashboard here on StreamYard. So when she takes over next Tuesday, things will hopefully run smoothly, and I think that they will. So I will still continue to host on Friday nights. And tentatively, I think Kira might be joining me this Friday, just so we can kind of do a little bit of dry run also on air as I let her run some of the controls here, so she can be a little bit better acclimated for next Tuesday. But I'm really, really happy to hand the Tuesday night reins over to her. It's going to be a great show. She's a wonderful, wonderful host, young woman, full of fire and energy and great perspectives on things happening here in Chicago. And I'm sure that the stories that she's going to curate and share with our viewers on Tuesdays will be just as interesting as the ones I've been sharing and will continue to share on Fridays.
That's right. And I'm really excited about the new set for Can TV Chicago Corner. I was actually recently at Can TV today, and they really like the programming in Hardlands Media, and they're really excited for Chicago Corner to finally be on Can TV.
Let me give our viewers a little sneak preview of the set with some photoshopping, but this kind of gives a sense of what the Can TV show will look like. And for those that were worried that Oreo is going to be stuck here at home and not in the studio, we will have a little overlay that we can use now and then in the corner there, just to remind us he's around, or he's still the one of the executive producers of the program.
He is the executive producer. Oreo is the executive producer in charge of Chicago Corner. There is no debate about it.
But how about that said? I had a fun time. We're gonna rotate in the Rona Destroyer depending on if we have serious guests. She'll be gone, but when we're there just shooting the shit, talking about news, she will be a looming presence in the background there. And I also want to note Jake and Elwood Blues, Kit and I have now decided are the patron saints not only of Chicago Corner, but Hardlands Media. So that's why we pay tribute to them on that back wall with their concert poster.
There we go. So yeah, Blues Brothers finally recognized. Long overdue. Long overdue.
Well, interesting news week.
Yeah, my goodness, there is. Holy cow, we got a lot of stuff to talk about.
A lot to unwrap here. Let me share some video that a few of us saw the other day as it was shown across Chicago News. Let's just play. Here we go. That's the ambulance outside the Chinatown firehouse where I guess keys are left in the car. And if that's the procedure, that's fine. But I would at least imagine that paramedics would have an extra set of keys to lock the door. But apparently they don't. And this ended up leading to quite a dramatic spectacle when the police were notified of this incident. And I had originally had some video to show before news broke this evening regarding the details on the driver, which sadly speaks so specifically to what we've talked about here on the show ad nauseum, mental health. And I'm going to run the video. And this came to us today. I believe it came, well, I think it was from was it WG? Yeah, it was WGN. Ed, thanks for sharing this, because this video came in last minute and I think adds some more updated perspective on what went down.
Being transferred to Cook County. His mother tells us she hopes her son can.
Yep. From WGN.
I think you're at the end of it.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry, everyone. Here we go.
Chicago Fire Department ambulance who led state police on a pursuit down Interstate 55. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ben Bradley.
And I'm Lourdes Duarte. It turns out the man accused of taking that ambulance may have been trying to head home to St. Louis.
WGN's Dana Rebick spoke with his mom just a short time ago, and there's a lot more to this man's story.
There is. It actually is very heartbreaking. She told me that his mother's name is Vicki Harrington. I spoke with her over the phone again this afternoon a short time ago. She says her son actually called her from the ambulance. She then called Chicago police once she knew what was going on, gave dispatchers his cell phone to communicate with him. She says this was a very scary and horrifying thing for her to watch unfold.
We have a COL ticket for auto.
This is what happens when I'm running the video from my desktop. Let me pause it and restart it and see if it starts playing the video.
Yeah, the other the videos that we might have shown earlier were the ones where I think it was Chris Habermill from CBS was showing from his helicopter, was covering the chase as it was happening, like almost like how when some of you remember when OJ was it OJ Simpson was in his Bronco.
This was
Yep. Yeah, this is here. I got it running now. Here we go.
the scene late yesterday afternoon. A man behind the wheel of a stolen ambulance heading southbound on I-55 during the evening rush. Nothing could stop him, it seemed, even a flat tire.
Still on I-55 in the southbound lane.
This all started in the 200 block.
This is maddening that the video is buffering like this. Let me go back just a little bit more because it's all
I-55. That's definitely heading to St. Louis.
Yeah.
This was.
You know what, guys? I am going to see if I can just pull up the YouTube video that you sent me earlier, Ed. Let me take this off screen. I know we might have issues that I'm going to deal with later, but stand by, everybody.
Right, I think we're back.
Yep. Let me bring up the screen now. I had to find the link and open the YouTube and reduce this guy.
Right now at 4 o'clock, we're learning much more about the man who was behind the wheel of a stolen Chicago Fire Department ambulance on a pursuit down Interstate 55. Good afternoon. Thanks for
I
joining
gotta add
us.
it back to the stream.
And Florida Duarte, it turns out the man.
One moment, everybody. All right, there we go. I got the screen up now. All right, so how much time did we spend today prepping, Ed, to make sure everything went seamlessly and flawlessly? A lot of time. We were on at least an hour, and sometimes, unfortunately, the buffering with the internet, even though I'm hard connected with a wire, and that's what she said.
I don't know. It just feels like, I don't know, there's a ghost cow or something messing with the machinery in here.
Could be. All right, let's see if we can finally watch this video without the interruptions.
4 o'clock, we're learning much more about the man who was behind the wheel of a stolen Chicago Fire Department ambulance who led state police on a pursuit down Interstate 55. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ben Bradley.
And I'm Lourdes Duarte. It turns out the man accused of taking that ambulance may have been trying to head home to St. Louis.
WGN's Dana Revick spoke with his mom just a short time ago, and there's a lot more to this man's story.
There is. It actually is very heartbreaking. She told me that his mother's name was Nikki Harrington. On the phone again this afternoon time ago. She says her son actually called her from the ambulance. She then called Chicago police once she knew what was going on, gave dispatchers his cell phone to communicate with him. She says this was a very scary and horrifying thing for her to watch unfold.
We have a COL ticket for auto theft in progress. It was ambulance 66, confirmed bona fide.
This was the scene late afternoon. A man behind the wheel of a stolen ambulance heading southbound on I-55 during the evening rush. Nothing could stop him, it seemed, even a flat tire.
Well, that kind of stopped him, though.
This was the 200 block of Cermak. New Chicago City podcam video, independently obtained by WGN, shows the moments 45-year-old Benjamin Harrington got into the vehicle parked in front of the Chinatown fire station. Once he was on the road, Harrington called his mother, Nikki, told her what was going on, saying the keys were left in the unlocked ambulance. He says he told her he was scared and was trying to drive to St. Louis to get to her, that he needed help with an addiction problem and needed mental health treatment.
I've been fighting and just trying to do the right thing and get help.
Near mile marker 217, the ambulance could go no further. A driver captured this cell phone video when police chased Harrington on foot into the northbound lanes of I-55 near Dwight, and a canine was deployed. Nikki Harrington says her son had a wound from a dog bite to the leg. She tells us her son used to have it all, a prominent lawyer who worked for some of the top firms in the country.
Okay, so this is where it hits home, and Ed's got some really, I think, insightful commentary after we take this passage.
After getting his law degree in 2003, Harrington lost his job in December, she says, and was homeless. A few years ago, he started suffering from mental illness and drug addiction, but she says he was a wonderful person who would never hurt a soul.
Harrington is charged with fleeing and obstructing police and possession of a stolen vehicle. He was transported to a hospital for non-life-threatening injuries, then transferred to the Grundy County Jail, and now awaiting transfer to Cook County. His mother tells us she hopes her son can now get that help that he needs.
Yeah, so tough for that mother to hear and tell that story today to you. Okay,
Absolutely.
Dana Rebick, thank you so much.
Let me get this off screen now. Ed. Oh, God. Hold on. I paused it, and it's going into a commercial. Gosh darn it. All right. We're going to get rid of that. And, Ed, you shared some stuff.
Yeah. I'll see if I can remember what I had a stream of thought earlier.
It's hit everybody.
It's hard. Yeah. It's this is just, it's like the canary in the coal mine. It's a shout for help. And this guy is not alone in how a lot of people are feeling right now. This guy just happened to fall into a bad place where, he had some addiction, he was dealing with some mental problems, and the guy lost his job. I know how that feels. I'm between full-time gigs right now. I know a lot of other people who are too. There's probably millions of people out there that are dealing with the stress and pressure, depression, all kinds of issues. They're dealing with it in their own ways. And, with the lack of support that we've gotten from our government, our local governments, our state governments, our national governments, they could have done so much more. And people are falling through the cracks. This is one of the guys that is falling through the cracks. Not everybody's able to deal with this in a way that,
Well, to put it in even more perspective, here's a transmission from the ambulance after he stole it.
The deal was I get out of the city by, 5 and I can go to St. Louis or get out of town.
What's your mic? You got an open mic?
I didn't even do anything. I left evidence that I didn't do it at fucking Second City multiple times. I just woke up and I'm for fucking 2022.
15 means 15.
Go out for 15.
Battery victim 70 North Avenue.
70 North Avenue, we're out.
Go check Piper's Alley by the back under the door. The exit under the door on the left. I've left notes and flash drives that all show that it wasn't me that I took, and I tried to get to the FBI and I reported to the FBI in August of 2020.
This sounds like it's more than just a guy who's depressed and stealing an ambulance.
He's clearly in distress over something that, as it went on, he started talking about people accusing him of being. Well, let me continue. You'll hear the mental illness.
Don't eat
issue.
me, please. I didn't do. I and a piece of shit, a disgusting drug addict, but I'm not a fucking terrorist or an aid to anybody against the country. Hearing this right now? Trying to get the treatment, and they told me they fucking.
He's trying to get treatment, and I get.
You know how I got here? I woke up April 1st, and I ran to the FBI. I said something bad's gonna happen. I said, it's on the road. He's fucking. He's gonna do something horrible. I said this in August 2020. I met with FBI. I showed him Bergen's picture and IDs and everything. It's on my fucking phone. I did everything, and they just blew me off. They met with me in the Dirksen Federal Building with two people who clearly were not who they said they were. Special Agent Paul Palumbo told me to come to.
There's something to unwrap there. He reached out to the FBI, and had they, properly profiled that he had some emotional mental health issues because he's clearly in distress and not been rebuffed. Yeah, there's a lot more to this story. Let me play a little bit more. And this audio was captured by crimeisdown.com. They capture the audio from police scanners.
The office, not the FBI building. On September 7th of 20, please understand, I've been running around fear for my life. These people have been just sending me the craziest messages, telling me I'm an android and a fucking robot and all this crazy shit. I don't know. I've been drugged. I've been lied to. I've been manipulated. I've been fucking abused and fucking chased around. I literally went to I called people I knew and asked for help and all.
Overdose for Arlington.
I showed up.
We don't know what he was taking as far as the addiction, do we? Was it hallucinogens?
Well, and if he was treated,
I don't want to doubt the things he's saying, but you never know. I mean, it could be something playing with his head.
Yeah, and the fact it sounded like he was trying to. He certainly was paranoid about something. Now, had he been in any kind of mental health treatment, these text messages that he's talking about being accused of being an android, it sounds like he was seeking help, right? And it doesn't sound like he just walked into an ambulance today. There were a lot of signals that this man needed help. And I want to share a tweet.
Yeah, he fell through the cracks again,
He fell through the cracks. Yeah. I'd like to share a tweet from our friend of the show. And hopeful mayoral candidate, Jamal Green, who tweeted this. Bring this up on screen here. Come on, please. What Jamal shared. Come on. Oh, everything is slow. A man just carjacked an ambulance and went on a high-speed chase in Chicago. No, we cannot afford another 4 years of Lori Lightfoot. We must start to invest in the solutions immediately or problems will continue to exacerbate. Now, someone responded to his text, not sure how the two are related. The ambulance was running unoccupied, and Jamal responded, it's called mental health. The problem is highly serious. No surprise to us talking about this how many times ad nauseum. Yeah, it's if this doesn't drive home the fact that we've got a serious mental health crisis, not only in this city, but in this country, after former Mayor Emanuel shut down mental health clinics. And as you say, Ed, so many people are falling through the cracks. This is the result of not investing in the infrastructure or the services that people desperately need, especially during and after this pandemic we've managed to survive. Kit?
Well, first and foremost, let's look at somebody who has also played a role in this. Never forget that Rahm Emanuel shut down half of the city's mental health facilities. Also, again, this is going to keep on getting worse because the United States is a national issue. The United States, the richest country in the world, we do not have any kind of real institution or infrastructure for mental health. It's going to become an ongoing problem. And as inflation keeps on getting worse, as homeowners and renters are being evicted from their homes and apartments, as Americans struggle day in, day out just to make ends meet, people will be reaching breaking points. So look, we already have an opioid crisis in this country. So add this on with mental health. Innocent people are going to get hurt because of the path our politicians and the big interests have done in order to create this environment. This won't be the first or the last time we see anything like this. And what more can be said that we need to do something about mental health in this country? We need Medicare for all. We need to start doing something. And I think now we need to start building up a ballot initiative for Medicare for all at a state level here for Illinois, because we're not going to get at the national level at this point. We're waiting for these politicians to do something. There is a bill for Medicare for all on the House floor. Is there anything that can be done by our politicians to make sure this can stop? Because obviously it's going to keep on getting worse and worse. We have these politicians who are in their 80s and 90s who don't care or are too senile to even know what's happening right outside their office. And then we have politicians like Lightfoot that contribute to this nightmare too. So I feel sorry for him. I hope he gets the help that he can get. But this won't be the last time we see anything like this, though. And if it's not in Chicago, it will be somewhere else.
Sadly. Well, it's a wake-up call for everyone to witness what happened. And as these other details come out regarding this gentleman's situation, sadly, I mean, if you're going to look at is there a bright side? It's opening up the conversation more in a way that people cannot avoid or deny anymore. You can't shuffle this under the rug. Mental health, especially as people have lost their jobs, lost families, can't afford to keep a roof over their heads, are homeless. It's unacceptable. It's just absolutely unacceptable, and it can't be tolerated anymore. All right, so we're going to be going into, not to bring everyone down tonight, but this is a story that really, 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 what's the word? Ground my gears. This is not the first time I have read a story like this. In fact, many years ago, a fellow alumni of mine from New Trier High School in Winnetka lost her son in this way to bullying. I don't remember which public high school it was here in Chicago. But this fresh news story, as reported by, of all places, the Daily Mail Co. UK, all the way on the other side of the world. Although I do believe that CBS also reported on this. I'm just like having a hard time bringing up the right screens because of my buffering issue. Yeah, CBU's also reported on this. And maybe I can run that video. Okay, it did just come up. Let me see if I can run this video, but I also have the UK article to reference talking about the details. Let me play this here. This happened in Chicago. And the video's not running. All right, let me go to the article.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not running. All right, let me go back to the article. All right, so parents of boy 15 who killed himself sue $40,000 a year private Chicago school claiming officials knew he was being cyberbullied by students and at least one mother who called his parents anti-vaxxers. Nate Bronstein, 15, took his own life on January 13th, 2022 at his family's home. A month earlier, the teen had asked to meet with the dean of the Latin School of Chicago to report several incidents of bullying. The dean of the $40,000 a year private Chicago school listened to him but took no disciplinary action, a new lawsuit filed by the teen's parents claims. Rose and Robert Bronstein filed the suit on April 25th, 2022, dealing how they raised concerns of their son's adjustment to the school with administrators. They believe if the school would have done their job and reported what had gone on within the school, he would still be alive. If you or someone know is concerned about suicide, contact the 24/7 confidential National S Prevention Lifeline. I'm worried about YouTube algorithms. 800-273-8255. So, as we said, the dean listened to Nate Bronstein. 1 month later, Nate was found dead, hanging from the shower in his parents' home with a noose tied around his neck. Rose and Robert Bronstein had repeatedly raised concerns about their son's struggle to adjust to his new school with administrators, which was detailed in a 68-page lawsuit in the Circuit Court of Cook County on Monday, but claimed no action was taken. It wasn't until after Nate's death they learned the extent of the bullying their son endured by his classmates. In the suit, Nate's parents claimed the school knew, but never reported it. There's Nate. Our son would still be alive today if Latin would have done their job and reported to us what had gone on within school, Rose Bronstein told CBS News. Going further in the article, what are more of the details? Nate hadn't been at the Latin School of Chicago, one of the most prestigious private schools in Chicago, for long, but he had a promising future. His parents described the 10th grader as being a super sharp, funny kid. He definitely wanted to go to a college that had big-time sports. His father, Robert Bronstein, told CBS News he loved to make people laugh and laugh himself. But the school was a toxic culture, Rose said, so toxic that we lost our son from it. According to the filing, Nate began experiencing and complaining about the bullying in September of 2021. In one incident, Nate and a fellow student at Latin were talking about the upcoming homecoming dance, but was told he was not allowed to join the student or the student's friends. Days later, Nate learned that the student had been spreading rumors around Latin that he was unvaccinated. The last time he was in the student's home, the student's mother told Nate, "It must suck to have to take a COVID test every week," to which Nate replied, "I'm vaccinated." The mother sarcastically replied, "Yeah, right." Nate was, in fact, vaccinated, the suit claimed. The suit went on to expound on other incidents that stemmed from the rumors, like when Nate had been approached at school by students on 2 separate occasions, with both students asking him if his parents weren't anti-vaxxers, following the incident with the student and the student's mother. It's not just kids that can be cruel, Ed.
No,
it's these fucking parents who enable their monster children to get away with this kind of behavior against other kids. Nate's parents reached out to the student's parents and to the school to resolve the matter, which only made matters worse because it led to continued harassment of Nate. Another incident detailed in the lawsuit alleges that around October or November, a Latin geometry teacher relentlessly accosted Nate in front of the entire class in response to the teen's comment about mathematical proofs, and ultimately announced that to the class that Nate was going nowhere in life. The lawsuit also details text threats and Snapchat messages exchanged between Nate and the school's classmates. I'm taking this screen down because these pictures are not buffering the way I hoped that they would. The lawsuit also details text threats and Snapchat messages exchanged between Nate and the school classmates, one of which encourages Nate to kill himself, and another was understood to be an indirect death threat. On December 13th, 2021, Nate met with the dean of students to report the bullying, but the dean took no disciplinary action against any student. Nate's report was also kept from his parents, the suit claims. The Bronsteins told CBS News they were never told that Nate had asked for a meeting with his dean of students to report the harassment. It had been kept from us, so that's why we were completely taken off guard when this happened, said Robert Bronstein. According to the Illinois General Assembly Public Act, every school in the state, including private schools, must have an anti-bullying policy. Policy must have information about how bullying should be reported and how it is to be investigated, and also that bullying incidents must be reported to the parents of those involved. Look, our son was 15 and his perception of what he can and can't handle isn't necessarily accurate, but that's why policies exist. And that's why now the law exists to involve parents, Robert Bronstein told CBS News. The school has to err on the side of a lot of transparency. The family stresses that they are not suing Latin for the money. Instead, they've pledged to donate any money gained through legal proceedings to anti-bullying and anti-suicide charities with their goal of helping others in similar situations. You can't allow this to go on because it's going to happen to another child, Robert Bronstein said. The DailyMail.com had reached out to the school for comment but has not heard back. The school released a statement to CBS News on Monday. Quote, our school community deeply grieves the tragic and untimely passing of one of its students. It is a loss that impacts our whole community. Our hearts go out to the family, not when it was happening, And we wish them healing and peace. With respect to their lawsuit, however, the allegations of wrongdoing by the school officials are inaccurate and misplaced. The school's faculty and staff are compassionate people who put students' interests first, as they did in this instance. While we are not at this time going to comment on any specific allegation in this difficult matter, the school will vigorously defend itself, its faculty, and its staff against these unfounded claims.
Unfounded.
Bravo, Latin School. Bravo.
All right. Well, here's my opinion on this wonderful elite private school. Clearly, there was a failure amongst not only the administrative staff, ranging from, I guess, the dean all the way down to the teachers. There is an environment of toxicity there in which this young man took his life. And it was, again, contributed by the adults, because the adults allowed that environment to happen. And when the student went to help for his dean, and when he also brought it up, he was constantly ignored. Here you have a geometry teacher also telling the class that he's not going to go anywhere in life. Who the hell is that teacher thinks they are? We don't know the gender of the teacher. Was it a male or a woman teacher that made that statement? Because the thing is, no matter who that teacher is, I think, number one, who are they? Let's find out their name. And to the young students that were there, look, you heard what that teacher said. Why don't you step up? Who was it? Who was it? Hey, where's the accountability for the faculty and staff? And how many other students are being bullied in the same manner as that young man is? Because the thing is, where there's one, there's probably countless others that are going through a nightmare there. So where I have to ask, is this the social environment that is acceptable for this school? I think that the entire state of Illinois should properly investigate and do a thorough, I'm going to say this, thorough interrogation of every single adult running.
Check out that comment from Ilhanar, and I cannot agree enough.
Yep.
This is how elites operate. They learn to dehumanize from cradle to grave, wash, rinse, repeat. Now, I'll tell you why this is this really elevates my blood pressure. I don't know if you guys experienced this early in life, but I was horrifically bullied as a kid. This is nothing new, the way schools operate. Parents will routinely defend the kids who are bullies because they don't want to acknowledge they might have some parenting skills that are lacking. And it's continued to operate. Meanwhile, you have school officials, school staff that don't want to get involved because of perceived legal issues, because of kids who are bullies, their parents not acknowledging or not willing to take part in trying to counsel the bully why this is unacceptable behavior. You know, kids are not mature enough to understand their cruel behavior. They need parents who do, and sadly, they don't have the parents that do, because their parents have allowed this kind of bad behavior to fester, in which they do mistreat and decide to take out their anger or their inabilities to comprehend this is not how you treat people on other students. So, you know, when Ilhanur says this is how elites operate, yeah, this has gone on for decades. There's been a culture, I think, that, well, you're just supposed to man up, just supposed to deal with it. Life's not fair. No, it's not. And yeah, we do have to be tough. But when you allow this kind of shit at a level where kids who don't know any better and don't know how to process their feelings, especially in the case of this young man who took his life, despite the fact he'd reached out to the principal at the school, they didn't report to his parents what was going on. He had other parents of these little monster children who were parents themselves adding to the abuse. It's just unacceptable. And Kathy, yes, you're right. It's not the way you treat anybody, whether you're younger or whether you're older.
Yeah, agreed, 100%. I also want to add into this that this young man did have a future. And you want to know, the thing is, we lost the opportunity for finding out who he would be, what he would contribute, what hopes he can help build. And the faculty and staff are responsible for taking that great dream away from us. We will never know what he would have contributed. From the dean to that teacher to everyone else that knew, from the adults that allowed that environment to happen. I question their sincerity. I question
shame on all of them.
I question everything about them and their willingness to actually be teachers. I think a full entire interrogation of the entire faculty, teachers, should be held accountable. This is a private school. It's supposed to be the elite. Well, I think it's long overdue that those elite teachers and faculty staff members should be interrogated and questioned. There is no such thing as innocence in my mind with that school. There are only varying degrees of guilt. Every single one of them are guilty. No one will be innocent, because if there was an innocent person, one of those teachers or faculty staff members would step up and be a whistleblower, call out the toxic environment, because I'm willing to bet that there are other students that are going through the same amount of abuse, both mental and physical, because we don't know. So the thing is, as far as I'm concerned, the answer is the same for all the adults that are in that school. You are guilty. Simple. Judge, jury, execution. Because until then, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong that there are teachers trying to step up and stop bullying. Prove me wrong that that's not the kind of environment. Because for some reason, there's a lot of questions that need to be answered. Because that young boy went to the dean, and only now the parents find out there is something fundamentally wrong. All the faculty, staff, and teachers are guilty and must be held accountable for their actions.
Ilhanur shares in the chat. Another private school giving preferential treatment to rich kids who bully. Can't blame them. They come from rich families. Oops, I mean good families. I found this story on Reddit in the Chicago group, and share some comments from there. These rich kids, Kit, that you want to held accountable, they won't be touched.
No.
They won't be touched. The students encouraging him, as you said, the students encouraging him to kill himself should be investigated, prosecuted, just like that case where a girlfriend was for encouraging her boyfriend to commit suicide. Hey, buddy, get down to reflecting the light, honey. And it is disturbing that a teacher was named as well. So someone in Reddit claims that they read like half the legal complaint that goes over the behavior that the parents allege led up to this. I stopped at the part where they start to list laws and detail the legal responsibility they allege Latin had to address this. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just some dumbass on the internet, but that first half was pretty easy to understand. He says, it's just one side of the story, and who knows if these parents were leaving anything out, but apparently the kid and his sister transferred into Latin from Parker because Latin was back in person, but Parker was still remote. Going back to the issues we had with remote learning or open schools and deciding which are going to be open, which are going to be closed, and
that's a whole other can of worms,
right? That could have contributed to like where this kid ended up, because Latin was back in person, but Parker was still remote, and their parents wanted them to have in-person learning. And for pretty much the entire time these kids were at Latin, they were bullied, and their parents knew about it, and the school knew about it. Their mom was in frequent contact with staff at Latin, but it didn't seem like they knew back then the extent of the bullying, just that these two kids weren't fitting in, being accepted by their classmates. One other thing here, according to the complaint, In October, the mom asked for a psych referral because she was afraid of the kid was going to hurt himself or me, states in paragraph 86. I understand that the parents are grieving, but I think there's a lot more to the story than what is being presented in this article. However, it's pretty clear that there are some really toxic, shitty people at Latin. You know what? Regardless of what the circumstances are, parents, schools, facilitators, staff, there needs to be a fucking zero tolerance policy with bullying. Therefore, all these other factors will hopefully be dealt with on their own, whether the kid needed mental health counseling. Maybe he did, and maybe it was compounded by the bullying. The point of the matter is you got to cut the bullying off before it starts. You know, I was a summer camp counselor many years ago. I believe I was in my late 20s, early 30s with a church camp up in Minnesota back when I went to church. It was affiliated with the Greek Orthodox community. And when I was a kid at camp, I was bullied. And, you know, I didn't have the greatest memories of the camp. Not all the kids were like that, but some were. And, you know, the counselors, it's rite of passage. This is just what kids need to go through. So when there was an opportunity for me to become a counselor, I took it. And the first thing I told these young boys in my cabin, first day, if any of you decides to treat each other with disrespect, it's not going to be tolerated. If any of you in my cabin here are bullied by anybody else, you come to me so we can deal with it, because it's not going to be tolerated. I didn't go into detail about what I had experienced as a kid, but I can't tell you how many of the kids in that cabin appreciated it and how the others came to an understanding that that kind of behavior amongst their fellow campers was not only not going to be tolerated, but it was unacceptable. And it fostered much better relations between those kids, to not pick on a little thing that you would, you know, bring up that could be very, very personal or very sensitive to another kid. You bring the kids together by really letting them know this is not acceptable. Yeah, you know, you bust each other's balls maybe when you're in your teens, when you're older and you can understand it, but not, you know, at an early age up through 14, 15, even 16 years old when kids are still developing. And I just wish that more of that kind of thinking was embraced and instituted in our schools. Because again, this is not the first type of this story I've read where a kid in a school, public or private or otherwise, has been bullied and taken their lives. It's sadly probably an epidemic that we don't hear enough about until a lawsuit is brought.
Here, I want to actually bring up a word from Illinois because I like this right here. My grandfather told me what the rich did in Chicago in the 1930s. He told me if a rich kid gives you crap, you throw it right back in their face and don't worry about their parents. I'll deal with them. I miss my grandparents.
I'll tell you something else. When I went through bullying when I was a kid, my mother, God bless her, was always, you know, don't fight back. Just take the higher road. Be peaceful. And when I did that, it's why the kids felt emboldened to continue bullying me. Mm. You know, I see my nephews now and I've heard, you know, they get teased this or that. And, you know, I'm not involved in how I can guide or counsel my nephews. But, you know, I've had conversations with my sisters and said, you know, it's one thing to tell your sons not to fight back. But at a certain point, it's like what Ilharna said with his grandfather. All right, his grandfather was going to handle it, but even if it's the kid, someone's going to push you, fight you, but you fight back and let the facts work themselves out. You should never look for a fight, but you should damn well never stand down from somebody torturing, emotionally persecuting you, or making you the butt of some awful joke, because then other kids just pile on and think it's acceptable. Again, if you stand up to a bully and they stand down, that's another way to deal with bullying. Kids have got to be taught. Stand up for yourself, try to avoid physical violence, but you can't just run away from it, because the best way to stop a bully is to knock them on their asses, is what I've learned since then. As I got older and got bigger in high school, and it's just like, oh, people are not going to screw around with me because physically I'm bigger. Not that I look for fights, but things change as kids perceive things with your physical strength and how you deal with things. So,
not that we're condoning violence or anything.
No, I'm not condoning violence, but I'm not condoning letting other people prey upon you or decide it's okay for them to act out against you. Going back to the live chat. Yeah, Kathy. Or was it here? That's what it simply comes down to. Yes, similar to domestic violence. All for nothing 388. I was bullied growing up but never thought of taking my own life or even the concept of suicide. Child suicide is as tragic as it gets. You know what? There were occasions when I was younger that I considered it. I didn't do it, but the thought crossed my mind. When you're young and you don't understand, how do you make the pain go away? Because there must be something wrong with you.
Well, and also they don't really see that they have so much ahead of them. A lot of times they just feel like, well, is this as good as it gets? And you gotta explain to the younger people, look, your life is going to be probably more like a roller coaster than anything else. You're not going to it's not going to consistently get better and better and better. Most people don't have that luxury. You're going to have ups, you're going to have downs, you're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days. Appreciate the good days when you have them, and then keep pushing forward as much as you can. Keep going. See how far you can get. Try not to give up. There's more to come.
Sorry, Ed. I thought you'd. I apologize for stepping on your last word there. Ilhanar, the rich are no better than poor. If anything, poor kids have more grit and determination than any rich kid. We have to earn our comfort. Rich just get it handed to them. Kathy, I am so sorry to hear this, and I'm glad you didn't, and I'm glad you're with us. And no, it's never too much information. By the way, Kathy, I hope you're recovering well. I know that she's had a bout with COVID, and I hope that you're doing better. I know that you emailed me and shared some emails that regarding advocacy for masking and safety precautions. So hope Kathy's getting better.
The thing is, that young man who lost his life, we have a chance to make something right happen. This story can't die. And I think the parents need to lift up everything and use every avenue approach to bring justice, because this could have been stopped. This could have been avoided. And there's an environment of toxicity there at that school. The faculty and staff must be held accountable for their actions. Each must be interrogated. Each must be questioned. And if need be, all of them should be fired. They don't deserve job security at this point, because we don't know how many other students are being bullied. Because the thing is, now those very same teachers, that same faculty and staff, now have to start asking questions of how much is going on. How many of those teachers have been confronted by a student saying, hey, I'm being bullied, I need help. Hey, I'm being assaulted, I need help. And how many of these teachers are also participating in bullying and harassment? Because let's face it, again, I don't want to get too much trouble with the YouTube algorithm, but there have been numerous reports of teachers abusing their power as well. So again, we don't know how bad it is there at that wonderful school there, where apparently it's a place for the elite to go to. But for some reason, it's rotten to the core, and no stone should be left unturned. And if need be, since it's a private school, shut it down then.
Yeah. Well said. Hey, speaking of bullies, guess who's back in the news?
Oh, boy.
How about this?
Hey, buddy, what's up?
One of his henchmen, one of his flunkies, Alderman Jim Gardiner's ward superintendent, was arrested, charged with trying to sell an illegal machine gun. As we worry and wonder where all the illegal guns are coming into Chicago from.
That's just the normal things that they do in Chicago, is sell machine guns to people.
An alderman's ward superintendent. As he was being arrested, Charles Sikanich repeatedly asked to contact Gardiner before he was placed into custody, according to his arrest report obtained by the Tribune. Why? Would Gardiner have been able to, get him out of it?
Yeah,
just to
call this alderman. He knows what's going on. This is all fine. Everything's fine. Just call my Aldermort. What's his name? Gardiner. Aldermort Gardiner at 1-800 machine gun.
Not too suspicious. kind of speaks to the fact that Sakanich may have imagined that his good buddy Jimbo was going to cover it up. Charles Sakanich, Alderman Jim Gardiner's ward
Somebody
superintendent.
say cover up.
Hey, Rami.
Jim Gardiner's ward superintendent who oversees sanitation services. That's appropriate. He's a glorified garbage man. No offense or
He
no.
works in sanitation.
Yeah.
Sanitation.
Was charged Tuesday with possession and attempted sale of an illegal machine gun, according to the Illinois Attorney General's office. Sakanich was also charged with official misconduct. Now, the Tribune was first to report the charges. By the way, this report comes from Ariel Parella-Orelli at Block Club Chicago, but the Tribune was first to report the charges, which are all felonies, according to the Attorney General. Sakanich was arrested Monday after being indicted last week, the Tribune reported. He repeatedly asked to contact Gardiner before he was placed into custody, according to his arrest record obtained by the Tribune. His bond was set at $100,000, according to the Attorney General's office. The case was investigated by the local division of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives and the city's Office of Inspector General. The ATF confiscated the machine gun from a Sakanich last summer, Block Club reported in October. Seeking to illegally sell a dangerous firearm like a machine gun demonstrates at best indifference toward the public safety, Attorney General Kwame Rolls said in a statement. However, to do so on government time using government property demonstrates a shocking disregard for the people government employees have committed to serve. Doesn't that just speak to a culture of, under probably many of these aldermen, but specifically Gardiner, with what we've seen uncovered with him in the past, that they can just do whatever the fuck they want? Doesn't matter.
Yeah, what's
for thee, not for me.
What's he gonna say? He's gonna, we were setting up a sting. That's what we're doing. We weren't doing anything illegal.
Ilhanor says, it's so nice to see a city superintendent is branching out to gun running. Kathy, yeah, we've been talking about, well, look, he's under investigation. I don't know if it's gone to federal investigation also regarding some questions with how the details.
I think this is part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the feds got their eyes on him for sure.
Yeah. Machine guns are illegal in Illinois, and people caught with them could face 3 to 7 years in prison. Sentencing guidelines vary, with recommendations between 6 and 30 years if the weapon is found to be loaded or in a vehicle. Authorities said Sakanich arranged. So here's who he arranged to sell it to sell an MP40 fully automatic machine gun to an undercover ATF agent while on the job.
Oops.
I have to. What was he thinking? ATF agents staking out the prearranged meeting spot saw Sakanich arriving in a city Department of Streets and Sanitation vehicle, the Attorney General's office said. He probably figured it was a good way to cover up what he was doing.
Did somebody say cover up?
A later review of Sakanich.
How many times can we do that until we get sick of that?
As much as I bring up Jake and Elwood.
Okay.
A later review of Sakanich's city timesheet showed he was clocked in at the time he allegedly tried to sell the weapon and should have been working at his government job, the Attorney General's office said. During the meeting, Sakanich said he would have his mother complete the illegal transaction as he hoped to avoid complications to his work job, according to the Attorney General's. It's nice to bring mom into it, throw her under the bus. Why? Because his mother works for the clerk of the Circuit Court of Cook County and has been accused of helping Sakanich in past favors unrelated to work duties, according to a separate lawsuit filed last year against the alderman for his conduct towards a constituent. Kit, I'm going to stop talking. I know both of you have a lot you want to share.
Edward, you go first, man.
Oh, I don't know what else to say other than, oh my God, what a moron.
That lawsuit alleges Sakanich had his mother pull old police records of an Irving Park resident. We reported on this in a revenge plot against a constituent who was a vocal critic of Gardiner.
That's right. He plowed through that person's lawn or whatever.
Oh, that was a lady. A lady is the one who drove on. That was another one of Gardiner's devotees.
Oh, that was somebody from. Okay.
Yeah, a guard.
Yeah, it's just there's so many winners in his entourage, though.
The Gardiner cult. The alderman got the documents from Sukanich and wanted to leak them according to the lawsuit and pass text messages between him and a former staffer shared with Block Club Chicago. That matter was referred to the Circuit Court Clerk's Office of Inspector General for an investigation. Raul's Public Integrity Bureau is overseeing Sukanich's weapons and misconduct case. I appreciate the investigative work done by the ATF and City of Chicago Office of Inspector General as we work collaboratively to hold accountable public employees who abuse their authority and the trust taxpayers have placed in them, Raul said. Gardiner's office did not immediately return requests for comment. Blair Dalton, Sukanich's attorney, did not return requests for comment. You know, I've contacted Kwame Raul's office on a matter related to consumer fraud, and it didn't matter to them. Sadly, you know, they're like, it sounds like you have a civil issue. And I'm like, well, if it's happening to me, these people are doing it to probably defrauding people all over Chicago. It was a business or the state. They didn't have the time to investigate it. What else is new? I mean, maybe, hopefully this is something, you know, more pressing that Raul's office and the feds cannot afford to avoid investigating since it's got so much attention on it now. But, yeah, just another day in Chicago, man.
It's another day in Chicago where you have, again, consistent corruption and nepotism running amok. That's what we're witnessing here. And it's been on.
You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Geez, Star Wars had to be brought up here.
Scum and villainy. A wretched hive of scum and villainy is what we're dealing with. I'm sorry, Kit. I didn't realize you. I think I stepped in your last thought.
It's quite all right. You know, the thing is, I'm looking at this entire two-party system that we're in, and just thinking of all the nepotism that we see in Washington D.C. And it's alive and well here in Chicago, where there's no accountability. There is zero action being done, and the thing is, you know, he's selling a machine gun. I can think of a million things that could go wrong with everything that we're seeing, especially with so many of these shootings that happen here in Chicago. Great, now there's a machine gun out there. I wonder how many times this guy's gotten away with it too now.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, this is just the tip of the iceberg with all kinds of illegal activity that they haven't been caught. I mean, you know, luckily this time, you know, he was stupid enough to sell to an undercover ATF agent. What else were these idiots, these jamokes involved in?
Yeah. How many other truck trailers was he pulling up in an alley to unload some questionable materials? Allegedly.
City Senate to cover it up. Ilhanner brings up a good point. Let's get the whole family in on this. Did we leave a paper trail? Good. Everything is in place. Go Team Venture. Oh, my goodness.
Go Team Venture.
Ilhanner, it just gets worse. Yeah, it does. It does. I think our buffering might be lagging a little bit. Let me get to our last two stories here. This is no surprise when we realize how Lightfoot distributed the federal COVID money last year, principally to police overtime, then to pay down the city's debt. Wait a minute. I've got some video to go along with this.
Speaking of feds looking into things.
Right? Let's see if this video plays. Hopefully it will.
Billions in pandemic funds given to the city are not being used effectively.
WGN's Sean Lewis has the story.
On Chicago's southwest side, a push for public health.
I guess you'd be listening to it.
Deliver equity. Deliver equity for our families.
25th Ward Alderman Byron Cicho Lopez among those here calling for better funding allocation.
I need a faster computer, I think is all this comes down to. Let me, and I think that you sent me the original.
Continue to see.
Hold on.
You want me to try to see if I can.
I'm going to see if I can find the original YouTube link from the Slack that you sent me. You know, I download these videos thinking they're going to run more smoothly if I'm controlling them, and they don't, which is.
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah, well, again, shout out to Byron Lopez. We've interviewed him before he became an alderman, and I'm proud to say, we helped contribute to make sure that people heard his voice, and I'm glad he's out there fighting for the people.
Oh God, I'm looking for the link here. I think this.
I've got a Sun Times story. I don't see a video in there.
Yeah, I had actually found the video on YouTube. Oh, I know how I could find it. I can go to my YouTube and look at my history and find the link. Everybody stand by. I'm afraid if I hit our regular standby button, it's going to cause problems too. So
that's okay. I can do it. Today's Chicago Corner is brought to you by Flavor Improving Mugs. The mugs that improve flavor. Do you have a mug that doesn't improve flavor? Well, what are you doing not ordering a flavor improving mug from the Chicago Corner merch store? Check the link below and check out our Redbubble store, which has this fancy Chicago Corner flavor improving mug.
It makes things delicious and nutritious and delicious.
It does indeed, Mr. Cabello. Are we pausing? We're still stalling for time. That's fine.
Yes, we are.
Remember that we also have other styles of wonderful flavor improving mugs, including the one from Pegleg Sullivan featuring Bessie the cow from the Great Chicago Fire.
We also have mugs for Heartlands Media too.
There are also Heartlands Media mugs. They are 20% flavor improvement. The Chicago Corner mugs, 25%.
That's right. And look at that beautiful skyline there too. It is from the 5th floor view of, or actually it's from the rooftop view of the 99 Perspective Studio, which is home to Heartlands Media, Chicago Corner, World Perspectives Radio Chicago, and so much more. To learn more about the 99 Perspectives studios, go to 99perspectives.tv. Also, Heartlands Media is on Can TV, and very soon, Chicago Corner will have its own exclusive Can TV programming. So we're going back to TV, folks. That's what's going on. Heartlands Media is taking over the radio, the interwebs, and now television. If you live in the city of Chicago, Can TV, that's the channel you should watch. Because it's awesome.
Somehow or another, my regular YouTube was logged out. I'm trying to log in to find that video I had earlier, and now it wants to send me a 2-step verification to get into my. I forget it. Just let's. All right, I do everything to add production values to this show, and it's just I'm going to have to just go from the article. But let me bring it up here. Sorry, guys. I always want to give you guys video, but they're just not cooperating with me. Add to the stream. All right. So Alderman Cicho Lopez advocates say city's COVID-19 relief money has largely gone to contractors. They're leaving our communities to bleed. No pun intended. We talk about equity, then deliver equity, the 25th Alderman said Sunday. Deliver equity for our families, for staffing, for communities. Alderman Byron Cicho Lopez and a group of health advocates slammed Mayor Lori Lightfoot's response to the COVID-19 crisis during a news conference Sunday in Little Village, saying federal relief money has disproportionately gone to contractors and consultants instead of schools and the city's most vulnerable communities. Among those speaking out Sunday was Dr. Howard Ehrman, who we've had on the show, a former assistant commissioner of the Chicago Department of Public Health, who has been a vocal critic of the city's pandemic response, as an organizer of the People's Response Network, who we also had do a panel with us, a grassroots organization dedicated to building up the agency he previously worked for. Quote, why has the city of Chicago completely failed to correctly handle this pandemic, Ehrman said at the news conference as the group offered COVID vaccinations at St. Agnes of Bohemia in Little Village. Here's Dr. Ehrman. While the city has received billions in federal coronavirus aid, Ehrman said most of that cash has gone to corporations and nonprofits, not to actually put direct services into our communities and schools. He said the city health department hired just 7 new nurses after receiving $626 million from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. And he noted that many Chicago public schools face budget cuts, even though the school system still has roughly $1.8 billion in federal aid. $1.8 billion. We are launching a citywide campaign to force the city to spend the money directly in the schools, he said, and to spend the public health money directly in our communities, to hire people from those communities at union wage jobs in the Department of Health, in CPS, and not through contractors. Sitcho Lopez had previously partnered with Ehrman's team last March on the Take the Vaccine to the People ordinance, which would create a community-based testing, contact tracing, and vaccination program. It has since languished in the City Council's Rules Committee. Sitcho Lopez also questioned how the relief money is being spent. We talk about equity, then deliver equity, he said, of CPS's expected enrollment-based cuts. Deliver equity for our families, for staffing, for communities. They're leaving our communities to bleed. Sitcho Lopez pointed to the $2 billion in federal relief money that's been budgeted for emergency purposes. This money should be going toward addressing the mental health crisis.
Reopen the clinics.
Among young people, said Sitcho Lopez, who said that spending on treatment and other services in schools could help stem violence and maybe even bullying. Our families cannot get basic services, and we have the funding, he said, noting that 2,000 young people are currently waiting for an appointment at the beleaguered Loretto Hospital in Austin. That's tragic. That is tragic. More kids are getting killed every day. We're going to continue to see the trends of the last 2 years if Mayor Lightfoot doesn't listen and put the money where we need it. Lightfoot's office didn't respond to a request for comment. And why would she? She's out fundraising.
Oh. Is that me gold?
What the hell are you?
I'm a leprechaun, me dear.
Here, this is what you're looking for, right?
Lost my eyes, startling.
That one never gets old.
Lightfoot, what are you here? Why are you here?
Well, I was just informed that they wanted me to respond for a comment, and well, I mean, you all know that I'm saving all that tip money and all the extra COVID relief money for my project, which is putting a bean on top of the other bean in Millennium Park. This is very near and dear to me, and I have to make sure.
Lightfoot. Guess what? Hey, Mayor Heavyfoot, get out of here.
Mayor Lightweight. Okay, so quick comment to Ryan Clark. You should try to download YouTube videos in advance. Actually, I do. So what happens is I download the videos, put them on my desktop, load them in the StreamYard, but it runs from my desktop. I just need a faster computer. That's why the videos are not properly. I guess I could have restarted my computer before the show also, but I didn't think it would be a problem. So anyway, yeah, those are the tech difficulties that I face in trying to get stuff running smoothly here. Turkey Day, to bean or not to bean? That is the question.
Well, you know where I stand on that, Jerry. I'm for at least 2 beans. I was thinking about 3, but it's just not going to fit on the screen, so.
You annoy me.
We'll start with 2 and see where it goes from there.
You annoy me.
Now my videos aren't running. What the hell?
That worked.
Oh, it did work? Oh, I didn't see it, so I guess it's slow on my end. Okay.
They work.
All right. Queuing up our final story for the evening. It's Groundhog Day with this story, although I think that these are some great developments as reported by Melody Mercado at Block Club Chicago. Paste and go. Let's see if that screen comes up. And we can thank our labor unions for these developments. Labor unions are slamming Chicago's casino plans, demand a living wage for workers. What a novel concept. None of the 3 casino finalists have signed a labor agreement with the city's powerful union leaders, and the city's, signed a labor agreement with the city's powerful unions, leaders said. City officials also revealed they're trying to get more upfront cash from a casino to help with the 2023 budget. As casino finalists contend with widespread resistance from neighbors and a growing chorus of alder people, they've drawn the ire of a new group, the city's powerful unions. Because, when the citizens don't have a voice, naturally it's going to take the high-powered union leaders to, with their agenda also, which is for higher living wages, which is important. But always it's the voices of the people in the community that are just lost in the drone of these casinos that are just expect to be handed whatever they want. None of the 3 casino finalists have agreed to a union labor agreement for casino or hospitality workers. Robert Reiter Jr., president of the Chicago Federation of Labor, told the city's newly formed casino committee on Monday. It would be a slap in the face to pick a casino without a commitment to pay living wages, Reiter said, and many alder people agreed. What a shock. Alderman Pat Dell III and Alderman Sophia King IV, who both represent parts of the Hard Rock site near Soldier Field, were among those who called for the city's casino to be a union shop. That's very important if this is going to have a snowball's chance to go anywhere, Alderman Leslie Hairston of the 5th said. The city has asked that each casino finalist have union agreements in place for construction and operations before work can begin. So
Why didn't they have that already is what I want to know.
Well, dude, look, they don't have to get permits. They don't have to get permits in place for recycling plants when they build them, Ed. Why do you think they need to do this stuff in advance?
They know Chicago is a union town. They should know better.
Don't you think they're assuming that that's something they're going to be able to sidestep because of their connections with those in high places?
Man, I gotta say, this casino is such a bad idea. No,
Yep.
Have they tried to have a show at McCormick Place? I mean, the electricians' unions are there. They are not going to let you put anything on the floor that has a plug in it without them making sure that that it gets plugged in properly.
Are you saying these casinos didn't have a plan in place?
I am saying they thought they were going to pull one over on Chicago unions.
Do I really look like a guy with a plan?
Joker Casino coming soon.
But here's the thing: you don't want to lose the games at the Joker Casino because it'll be your last breath ever.
Only one casino operator has shown interest in negotiating with unions so far, Reiter said, declining to say which one. Why? Why not say which one believes that people should have a living wage? Bennett also confirmed, really, you know what? I say that in jest, but why not? Why don't you just announce who said, yeah, we'll go along with that? Embarrass the other ones that don't feel that it's important. I mean, it's a bad idea anyway, the way it's going to prey on the communities and the sense of desperation people already have. But
at this point, it's going to be a union bidding war between the 3 options, which may end up being a better thing for the city if they end up giving people decent jobs. If we have casinos, I know a lot of people are still against them for obvious and good reasons, but if it happens, and it sounds like it might, we should at least get the best deal we can for the people who are going to be working there.
But it also confirmed that the city is currently negotiating with the 3 casino finalists working to get a better deal. The city is eyeing a higher upfront payment of casino cash to float its 2023 budget. I thought Lori had that balance, though, from the COVID funds. She paid off all the things.
Didn't she pay that down?
Yeah.
With the stuff that the feds are looking into her for because she's not supposed to be doing that?
Yeah, I wonder how quickly they are actually going to that investigation is going to have teeth. At the meeting, city officials also fielded concerns from alder people on the transparency of the city's decision-making process. Alderman Brendan Riley of the 42nd demanded to know precisely who at the city made the call to narrow the proposals to the 3 finalists. City commissioners and their teams evaluated the proposals and made recommendations to the mayor, Bennett said. I'd like the names of the folks who actually voted to limit our options to 3, Riley said. I'm sure those 3 have sweetheart deals, which is why they were selected, and there wasn't any transparency there to begin with our higher-ups who, need a little extra to make their decisions.
I mean, that said, I don't think anyone was going to go for Peg Leg's Chocolate Milk Casino. That just wasn't going to happen.
I don't think anyone either was unfortunately going to go for that. But
would have been fun, though.
People could still dream, right?
Here's another good question. Alderman Michael Scott of the 24th asked why the city didn't propose its own sites instead of allowing casino developers to choose potential sites, right? there's a lot of empty land that's far away from the residential communities that don't want this. But the casinos want to be. It's like when George Lucas married Melody Hobson, wanted to plant his Star Wars museum of all places in Chicago on the lakefront. Instead of like, why don't you go? Hey, George, I'm a big Star Wars fan, but George, number one, museum doesn't belong here. It should be out west in Hollywood. And number two, you don't get to dictate what you want to tear down along the lakefront to build a shrine to yourself. The city should propose what's available.
And number three, if you're going to design a Star Wars museum, it has to look like the Millennium Falcon.
Yes.
Or at the very least, it needs to look like the Death Star.
Yeah, well, it was a weird design, but
yeah,
getting back to the point of these business owners, these corporatists who could just come in and dictate what they want without citizens in the neighborhood surrounding having any say in it. We don't have any representative government. We don't have at least in the mayor's office. I'm glad that the older people are standing up to this because they are standing up for what their constituents' concerns are. But, Lightfoot, not so much, if ever. Dowell, who had previously said she's against the casino, came with a long list of questions on how a casino will impact traffic, safety, and the Chicago's Riverwalk. She said she's heard little support from constituents for the Hard Rock Casino or the Rivers Casino at the 78 mega development. Riley said his ward residents, which neighbor the proposed Bally's Tribune publishing site, also oppose it, citing a ward-wide survey that shows 80% of respondents are against it. 80% are against the casino there, even though it's going to bring in those jobs. Alderman Walter Burnett Jr. of the 27th reminded his fellow alder people that the city needs cash to fulfill its. Oh, you know what we need the cash for, guys? What's paramount? What's priority? The police and fire pension obligations.
Oh, not the double bean?
No. Saying no to a casino would likely lead to an unpopular property tax increase. We're already getting that. That's going to be another tax on top of the existing increase. Burnett previously told Block Club he really doesn't want to be bothered with a casino, but on Monday called them a necessary evil. I don't want to be involved with increasing anyone's property tax. Hopefully we won't have to do that, he said. TIF funds. TIF funds. The city's plans to host more community meetings before the casino committee makes its final recommendations in the next 2 or 3 months, said Alderman Tom Tooney, who chairs the committee. Same shit, different day. That was our last story.
Wow.
Thoughts?
Or gentlemen, we live in a cheap Saturday morning cartoon show where the bad guys won and everyone's left to wonder how do we fix this nightmare and how do we get out of here? Unfortunately, nothing's going to fundamentally change until people do step up. And people start demanding more from these politicians that, again, like to screw us over. This casino, I feel, will bring in more disease and disaster for us all. And I really do hope that this 2023 municipal election cycle, things change. And that Chicagoans vote out these rat bastard politicians that have been abusing us for decades.
Kathy Powers in the chat says gamble in Indiana and pick up a gun while you're there. Yeah, that was one of the points that they try to make during these committee hearings is they're saying, well, if we don't open a casino, that's all that money's still going to the casinos in Indiana, and that's money that's not coming to Illinois. Okay, I kind of understand that, but there's still a lot of people that are like they remember seeing Back to the Future too, and they know what happens.
Yeah,
and we saw Biff become president anyway last term. So
they know what happens when Biff, opens up a casino on one part of the town. The whole rest of the town goes to hell.
Yeah, we already pay the tips, not the tip areas. They don't. I want to see what everyone else is contributing to the chat. Oh, and we, of course, we've got Obama who selected his shrine.
No, I don't think I have him in the overlays anymore.
No, not yet. Capital finalist sounds like a Richard Wolf.
Hey, have you seen President My Boss around here anywhere, Jack? Yeah. So about those student loans, what was I talking about? That sounded more like Clinton than.
That was more like Clinton. Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
got you got to work on your Biden, Jack. Come on, get your
I need more rest.
Gentlemen, here's how it's done.
Here we go.
Hey, Jack, you don't understand. Corn Pop is a bad dude.
It's a bad dude.
He's a bad dude. And I said to him, hey, wait a minute, Jack. I just landed on the moon. And Nelson Mandela was there with me, too.
There's a good question from Kathy. I wonder how Ed Burke is involved before the feds throw him in an orange jumpsuit. Okay, so here's a good point, Ilhan, and this is exactly what I fear here in Chicago, not only feeding into the desperation of the residents in the communities that will surround these casinos. Where I live, we have 3 casinos, and crime has increased since their opening. And we know how much Lightfoot, wants to stop crime, but of course their solution for that is going to be to raise taxes to pay for more police overtime. Turkey Day, poor kids are just as smart and talented as white kids. Yes, they are. Of course they are.
That's a quote from Joe.
Oh, is that what he said?
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that quote. Yeah. As the white kid, the white kids being the quite telling.
Not rich kids.
Yeah, white kid. Yeah, corn pop. This is what we're going to do in Chicago. Biff Tannen's Pleasure Paradise Casino. I'm going to have to pull some Back to the Future clips for our casino talk. Back to the Future 2 in the future. Anyway, listen, guys, thanks for participating in my last Tuesday night show for the foreseeable future. I will be back again on Friday. And as always, I appreciate everything you two bring to the show, as well as our viewers in the live chat. Did I see Biden call NH? No, I didn't see that. Not familiar with what that's about.
Actually, hold on. I want to say something. Jerry,
yeah,
you helped build up Chicago Corner to a point to where it is a sufficient channel. I know that Kira is in good hands, especially as you helped her get everything set up. And I'm really looking forward of you being our co-host for Hard Lens Media. I think it's long overdue, and I'm really glad that you're going to be stepping up and actually going to be contributing to the national show. And I'm looking forward to building Chicago Corner with you as well for the Can TV show. That's going to be something phenomenal to build.
We're going to have a lot of fun, and I'm very excited to join the national show because in the past, occasionally when a national story has kind of had a correlation with Chicago, I like talking about national issues too. So I get the best of both worlds now. And I thank you for that invitation. And yeah, the Can TV show is going to be a lot of fun. Our first guest, and I don't know when the broadcast date, thank you, Kathy just asked. We're recording our first show next Tuesday. Kit, you'll know the air dates, but my first guest.
They'll email me probably.
Okay.
They'll send me an email when it's going to air out.
Okay. My first guest is filmmaker and former gang member, Valerie Goodlow, who is currently directing a documentary on families, parents, and communities recovering from the losses from gang violence. I have to also say, for full transparency, I am helping edit that documentary, but she also does a lot of advocacy work in the community. She mentors a lot of kids in the community to find solutions and get out of that life and avoid that life to begin with. And I thought that as this is a topic we frequently talk about here on Chicago Corner, I invited her on to be the first guest because with a citywide audience focused on the issues related to gang violence and its impact and the losses and the suffering that it causes, I think we would have a good conversation. We'd also show some snippets from the Work in Progress documentary. So that's what our first show is going to be recorded next Tuesday.
And Cassie, it will be Can TV that will email me when the show will air. There's going to probably be some updates too that we're going to have to change on the website because obviously if you live in Chicago, right now Hard Lens Media is on channel 21, but Can TV has like 3 different channels. They got channel 19, channel 21, and I forget what the other numbers are too. So I will let definitely Edward know the times.
I'll look in to see which ones they are. I'll see if I can post that info when I have it sorted out. But basically, Can TV. If you go to cantv.org, I believe it's ORG. Yeah.
Now, in
Their
response,
schedules on there, and they will, and it depends on like what area you're in the Chicago area. Like Comcast has different channels on different areas of the city or whatever. So you might be channel 27, might be channel 21 or whatever. But you can figure it out.
The reasoning behind this too is Kathy asks not on the chan, if she means our channel. Can TV shows will eventually be uploaded to Chicago Corner's YouTube channel. The point of doing a Can TV show is we have a longer format where we can dedicate in studio to a guest, and we can also promote the channel to the rest of Chicago that doesn't know we're on YouTube. So with Can TV viewers watching our weekly show on Can TV, we will be promoting our YouTube channel, which will then hopefully guide more people to watch Tuesday's show with Kira and Friday's show with me. So we're trying to just broaden the reach of Chicago Corner, especially as we get into our next election season, where we hope to have candidates on the show in studio, on the Can TV show, because clearly we're going to want to reach a larger audience that presently is watching cable television. And then we'll hopefully also build our subscriber base here on YouTube as they find us when we also upload the shows there.
Yeah, we have a lot of good people in Chicago. They just don't always know to look for us in YouTube.
Yeah. Chicago isn't beyond saving. Give me more time. There are good people here.
There are good people here in Chicago.
We hope.
There are.
We know there are. We know it. You know, I like to refer to myself as the patron saint of lost causes, but you know, I never give up hope. Okay, I was looking at some live chat stuff. All right. Anyway, guys, anything else you want to share before we adjourn this evening?
I'm pretty much really excited about Heartlands Media.
You can talk.
Oh, well, I'm pretty much excited about Can TV, what we're going to be doing in the studio. I'm really excited about Heartlands Media being on, again, Can TV as well, Chicago Corner. We're going to have you on next month as the first of the many hosts, co-hosts on Tuesday. You'll be with me every Tuesday now. And I'm looking forward to just ripping a new one to these politicians. And I'm just really excited about this brand new opportunity of building up this show and building up this network.
Me too. And I really appreciate the invitation to join you as a co-host on Tuesday nights. So to the rest of my viewing audience, please, as we go through the week until I reconvene with you this Friday, please, as always, be safe, take care of yourselves, be vigilant, stay safe. And remember, if it's happening here on the streets, you will hear about it here on Chicago Corner. Thanks for joining us tonight, everybody, and we will see you on Friday.